Most gardeners think July means the garden season is over, especially when it's over 100 degrees outside. But in hot climates, July is actually one of the most important planting months of the year. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how you can still plant right now for fresh vegetables, flowers, and a productive fall harvest, even in the extreme heat. So at first, I thought I would go over and record this video over in my vegetable garden, but I thought I would record in front of these hollyhocks today because they look so beautiful. They're going crazy right now and they're just gorgeous, so that's why I'm over here today. But anyways, I want to first of all encourage you not to give up on your garden in July when you live in a hot climate. A lot of people do because that's when things tend to start to struggle, die, not produce. You'll see things like stall out. So I encourage you not to give up because July is actually a very important month when you live in a hot climate. It's the time to do succession planting out your fall garden, and putting in those heat-loving crops. So at this time of year, you're gonna see your spring crops start to not produce as well or even die out. So tip number one I have for you guys is to plan for the next season, not the current one. So this is the time to start planning out your fall garden. This is the perfect time to start planning out if you're gonna be doing like fall tomatoes or any of those more cool season crops like cabbage and carrots and stuff. Those are the early spring or the fall kind of crops. Remember that when you're planting, you need to look at the amount of time it's going to take for those crops to mature. So some things need to go in the ground like right now. Some things might need to go in the ground in August. So start planting that now. Also remember that the warm soil is going to speed up the germination rate. It's going to make it germinate faster. This is also the time to really focus on mulching, watering, using shade cloth. In my garden, I don't use a ton of mulch because I try to plant things really close together to reduce evaporation and stuff. I have actually a whole book on it, so I'll have that linked down in the description box so you can check that out. But planting things closely can help reduce mulching. It helps retain moisture, and I also recommend daily watering, deep watering every day, because in the heat your stuff's gonna struggle. So I have drip irrigation, so I'm not out here having to water every single plant every day. So now I'm gonna get into the heart of this video, which is what to actually plant in July. What are your heat-loving crops? And this is a great time if you've pulled out some of your spring crops, like I'm about to pull out my garlic here. This is a good time to succession plant. So for example, I'm going to pull out my garlic and pull out my garlic and onions. And once I pull those out, I'm going to amend the soil, add a little more compost and organic fertilizer. And then I'm going to plant my okra in that spot. Okra is a great hot weather crop, and it's great if you have empty spots or things that are done for the spring. Okra will fill in those spots really nicely. Another thing that you could plant right now is you could plant cowpeas. Those do great in the heat. Depending on how hot your climate is, you could put in some green beans as well. Like I have bush beans. The bush beans tend to do better in hotter climates than the climbing type of beans, the pole beans. Other plants that do great in the heat are sweet potatoes. If you haven't planted sweet potatoes by now, you need to get them in the beginning of July because they do take a few months, like 3 or 4 months to mature. Another heat tolerant crop is mulbar spinach and also amaranth. I have a edible amaranth. It looks really pretty in the garden too. It makes a nice ornamental vegetable. And I have one that I have it growing over there. It's a reddish color, and then it has a little bit of green around the edges. It looks really pretty. Eventually though, it does get kind of tall and then it looks kind of weedy, kind of crazy looking. So I kind of pick it when it's young, and then as it starts to get taller, I pull it out. And I did say before that the climbing beans don't do well in the heat, but yard lawn beans, like the Thai yard lawn beans, those do really good in the heat as well as Armenian cucumbers. They tolerate heat better. Regular cucumbers, I am able to grow regular cucumbers, but in the heat they tend to start getting funny shapes because it's harder for them to get pollinated properly. They'll get more like circular shaped, or they'll be like tiny on one end and then big on the other end, or they just turn out kind of bitter from the heat. So Armenian cucumbers are a good alternative for regular cucumbers. You can also put in some more quick growing vegetables like bush beans, like I mentioned. Those grow pretty quickly. And you could put in summer squash like zucchini or the yellow crookneck squash. that will grow pretty quickly. It usually grows within about 2 months or so. July is also a great time to start planting your fall garden. So now is the time to start tomatoes. If you're going to grow tomatoes in the fall, July is the perfect time to start them indoors. And then I also start my cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, those brassica plants. I start those indoors in July or even the beginning of August. So in hot climates, fall gardens tend to outperform the summer gardens. So now is a great time to start planting out your fall garden. I also want to go over some heat-tolerant flowers that you could plant right now from seed. There are some you can plant from like transplants, like salvias, sages tend to do well. From seed though, I love to do zinnias and cosmos. Those grow really well in hot climates and they look beautiful. So I have zinnias right now, they're all little, but soon they will get a little bigger and then start blooming. So I'm excited to see how those turn out. Some other heat tolerant flowers include black-eyed Susans, sunflowers, marigolds, flowering basil can work, as well as cellulosa. Those can all be planted right now, so you could get those in the ground and then you'll have them flowering by the fall. Now I briefly want to mention what not to plant in July. What not to plant in July is going to be things like lettuce, peas, cilantro will bolt if you try to plant it in hot weather, spinach, and any of those cool weather crops like carrots or celery, cauliflower. Some of those, as I mentioned, you can start indoors, but now is not the time to plant them outside. So personally, what I'm planting right now in July, I'm going to be pulling out my onions and garlic, like I mentioned. I'm going to put some okra in those spots. I'm going to fill in some spots with some bush beans and successions plant those. I kind of do that the whole summer. I'm going to fill in some spots with some zinnias, and I'm going to start planning out my fall garden. I haven't quite gotten into it yet, but I'm going to probably leave my tomatoes that I already have there and see if they'll produce more in the fall instead of trying to start new tomatoes. You can also take clippings from your current tomatoes and root those and then grow new plants from those. But I'm just gonna keep it simple right now, just continue to keep things alive. I got my shade cloth up, I have my drip irrigation going every day on a timer. So remember that hot climate gardening is not about copying northern gardening or cool climate gardening calendars. It's about finding what works with the heat instead of trying to work against it. So if you live in a hot climate, please comment down below and let me know what you're growing this month. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll have some more resources linked for you guys down in the description box. And please sign up for my newsletter. If you're also interested, I have a free Facebook group that you can join so we can share hot climate gardening resources together. I also talk about small scale homesteading and sourdough and all that good stuff. So I'll have that all linked down for you guys in the description box, and I'll see you guys again soon.